Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm Jamie Dawn, your professional psychic advisor, success coach, evolutionary, revolutionary astrologer. This video is for Taurus. So if you have your sun, your rising sign, or your moon in Taurus, this video is for you. And what I'm going to be addressing is the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction happening in Aquarius. Starting in December of 2020, Saturn will stay in the sign of Aquarius for 2.5 years. Jupiter will stay in the sign of Aquarius for approximately 1 year. So these are going to be influencers, and they are going to influence your 10th house. And so I'm going to talk about where and how that applies to you on a practical level. But let me just remind you, if you haven't had a chance to watch and listen to the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction video that I've done, please take a moment to look at it so that you can also be aware of some of the qualities of Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius. As a reminder, just really quick, Jupiter expands. It's very generous. It loves freedom. It needs to grow. And with it being in Aquarius, it's very likely looking at how to expand philosophy, that we should all be free to express ourselves and choose whatever is right for us. Also very future oriented and progressive with its thoughts and ideas, and the power to believe that ordinary people like us can do extraordinary things. And with Saturn in Aquarius, we're looking at science and technology and the subject matters covered by Aquarius that may come under scrutiny. There may be some new rules and restrictions that happen. We may feel restricted in these areas. We may also feel as though we're on the outside looking in, and we're trying to push our ideas into the collective, if you will, or into a particular group or society or community. There's also a possibility of fear or anxiety that we won't have the stability we need in the mind that we can actually manifest and do the things that we want to do. Now, remember too that Jupiter and Saturn both carry their own wisdom, and Jupiter's wisdom comes through experiencing life and taking great adventure and learning and maybe even teaching, where Saturn's wisdom comes through experiencing more of the challenges of life and then developing the mastery with them. So they're both very valuable because in some ways Saturn is keeping Jupiter in check so we don't get overly abundant and become extravagant or even lend ourselves into too much, because too much of a good thing can go bad. And so Saturn is there to put on the brakes. And if it's all Saturn oriented, then obviously we can get a little depressed. A little too much reality gets a little boring too. So with Taurus, we're going to have Jupiter and Saturn transiting your 10th house, which is reputation and status, how you're perceived by others, and what you feel you're achieving in life. It's really about the legacy or how you want to be remembered and respected. There's a great question that many of Tauruses will be asking themselves, which is, what do I really want to be when I grow up? Or what impact am I having on the world? So this may be very active with Jupiter and Saturn there. You may find your focus is really on what am I doing? What am I practicing out into the world? This could be your vocation, which is what you do, or your profession, which is part of how you're seen by others. The bottom line is, when you're asking yourselves these questions, and with Jupiter and Saturn here in Aquarius, it's to be who you are, even if it's that unusual kind of way of being. And you're wanting to have this ultimate freedom to express yourself in your vocation, in the daily practices, and in the way that people view you as maybe standing out a little bit, being that teacher or the one who is an authority on your particular craft, your particular reputation. I'm going to offer this too. If you can help one person, and that includes yourself, then let that be enough. If you can do what you do best, and it's something you love, and it can just be who you are, and you're helping yourself maybe work through some old wounding, maybe you're able to help one person through their process because of what you are offering them, why can't that be enough? Now, of course, with Jupiter and Saturn and Aquarius, we're a little bit more concerned about our groups or our community at large and our friendships that we're wanting to have influence on. And with this 10th house, we want to receive some attention. So there may be quite a bit of need for validation from our friends or from our community or groups that we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. And how do we receive that validation? It could show up through money. It could show up through words of affirmation. It could show up through awards being given in very many different ways. It can also be, for some of us, depending on where planets are and influences in your 7th house and your 5th house, is that you may find through partnership or romance that your reputation is either enhanced by the person you partner with or clouded, covered by the person you're partnered with. So some of you, especially with Saturn sitting there, may end up releasing some of the people or groups you're associated with so that you can create space in order to have the reputation that you're looking for. And Jupiter is going to make sure that you receive the abundance of what you need. Now, keep in mind too, Saturn's nature isn't one of surplus, it's one of sufficiency. His concern here, or her concern, because Saturn's really more feminine, but Saturn's concern is that you have precisely what you need when you need it. No more, no less. And so Saturn says, this is where you have to work really hard and master it over time. Jupiter says, you want more? I'll give you more. So when you're looking at it from the 10th house, you're looking at opportunities for your own success. Yes, you can have more opportunities, but how many hours are in a day? And how much energy do you actually have in order to manifest this success? Many of you, Tauruses, will be looking at establishing yourself as the teacher or as the educator and broadcasting your ideas that may stand out. They may be very different from others. And yet it's important for you to teach others how to do what you do so that, you know, as I've said in some videos, to give a man a fish, he eats for the day. You teach him how to fish, he eats for a lifetime. And that, I feel, is going to be a big thing for Tauruses. You're most likely going to feel great responsibility as well towards your career reputation and maybe given a position that allows you to establish yourself as an authority or allows you to build your reputation over time. Now, there may also be a bit of imposter syndrome that gets triggered where some of you may say, why am I being given this opportunity? Who am I? I don't have enough credentialing, or I don't have enough of the titles behind my name, or I don't have enough education, or I don't have enough of something. And what if people think I'm a fake? What if they think I'm a fraud? That also can be activated with Saturn sitting there. And then Jupiter can expand that fear if you focus on it. So remember that when you feel this activation of not being good enough or that you shouldn't shine, step back and remember that you're never given more than you can handle. And these opportunities are there to help you master what it is you're looking to leave as a legacy or as your reputation. You may have this feeling that you have to achieve something at all cost, and you want to be taken seriously for it with Saturn sitting there. And then Jupiter is going to bring the opportunity for you to achieve that. I'll offer this too, Taurus. You may need to spend some extra time alone contemplating if you're actually doing all that you really want to do. And that can provide clarity. So if you're at that question of who am I and what am I supposed to be doing when I grow up? What do I want to do when I get to be an adult, if you will? That taking time out and really, allowing yourself to think about it, maybe going into nature and just giving it a lot of spaciousness to allow the clarity to drop in can also be really beneficial for you. Remember that right timing for executing a well-laid plan is also important, and that may be on your mind as well. You may be asking yourself that question, when am I going to get this opportunity? And I would say you'll get what you need. We don't always get what we want, but we do get what we need, and you'll get it at the right time. Trust in that. I think the trust in your own abilities are going to be very active during this time. This is where I'll also say your friends and your community can support you to strengthen your confidence that that you're able to do this. And also remember that teaching is, and that's a big emphasis for a lot of Tauruses this coming year, is that when you're teaching, when you're expressing your thought processes out into the larger globe, if you will, the larger community, that it's really about sharing information in an organized way. And if you do your homework and you take your time to put everything together, then just go out there and give your best. That's all that you can do. It's all that we can ever ask of anybody. Okay, you guys, I hope Taurus this helps. I look forward to hearing how this next year goes for you. Find me at jamiedawn.com. Take care.